To the Squared CIrcle Psychobabble. My name is Michael Valenti. This is Ralph Valenti. And tonight, there is a lot of All Elite Wrestling and WWE news that we're covering. And that's why we're doing a bonus episode of the Squared CIrcle Psychobabble, talking Ronda Rousey, Gallows and Anderson, JR, and WWE possibly going back to TV14. It's all happening here. But before we get to that, make sure you hit subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. We're trying to hit 5,000 YouTube subscribers before All Elite Wrestling Double or Nothing. So, Ralph, let's start off with Ronda Rousey. Went on her YouTube channel, had an interview after the run-in on Monday Night Raw where she was asked about her actions, and she basically said verbatim that wrestling is fake. Do you think this is helping the story, or is this bad, very bad for business?
Well, I guess you can look at it from both sides. I mean, you can certainly say that she was able to generate a lot of buzz, which a lot of people were talking about this. Unfortunately, I think the buzz was for all the wrong reasons. So when you, like we talked about last week, when you kind of allude to what you're doing as being fake or scripted, as she put it, it kind of diminishes the value of the storyline itself. I think she's revealing a little too much. I mean, I know we all know that it's scripted, but at the same time, like I said, I just feel like it's diminishing all of her work and everything that Becky herself and Charlotte have done to this point to try and progress the storyline going into WrestleMania.
I agree with that, but at the same time, they're trying to make this heel turn with Ronda Rousey, and what better way than having a UFC fighter basically exposing the business and make wrestling fans absolutely hate her by calling it fake, and none of this is real, and the only reason that if I lose, it's because it's fake. I understand the approach that they were going at, but it could have been executed a lot better. But at the same time, you look at social media right now, Ralph, and Twitter, my entire Twitter feed and the SCPB podcast Twitter feed, everybody is making some kind of meme on this, whether it's Brutus wasn't a real barber, Jake wasn't a snake, The Undertaker wasn't a dead man, Kane is not a demon, he's the mayor of Knox County. I mean, there are so many different memes that I saw today and throughout the weekend about this whole Ronda Rousey calling wrestling fake. And it's like, she even posted a meme of herself on, I'm not sure if it was Instagram or Twitter. It was seen on both, where she just said, you're a mark, right? So I think she's playing with the fans, and like the diehard wrestling fans here, that's who this whole storyline's targeting anyway. So I kind of like it.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, she's definitely been able to generate a lot of buzz. I guess time will tell, and we'll see where the storyline goes. Like I said, I just hope that they're not diminishing all of the work and effort that they've put into this point to progress the storyline. Yeah,
that's true. I understand that, but I mean, everybody wanted a Ronda Rousey heel turn. Now you're getting one. So that's all. This is what we want. And I think it's going to end up helping Becky Lynch at the end when she beats Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania, whether it's a triple threat, whether it's a one-on-one match. I mean, sure, the match at Fastlane will determine that. But still, we could assume that Becky Lynch is going to win at WrestleMania, and whether or not, I think it would be better now to have her beat Ronda Rousey with the armbar. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, certainly having Ronda tap out to Becky in one way or another, I think is probably the finish that makes the most logical sense. Using Ronda's own move against her, I think that would make sense. I think it'd make for a cool moment too.
Yeah. All right, now let's move on to some interesting news that happened over the weekend with WWE. Let's start off with a tag team that is rumored to be leaving after their contract expires. Gallows and Anderson, it's reported that they are not renewing their contracts and will be moving on from WWE when their contracts expire, which late 2018, we heard that it's going to be September of this year that their contracts expire. Now the question is, if they are leaving WWE, where are they going? I know we talked about this in our All Elite Wrestling draft back in January, and I believe we both said that they were going to stay in WWE, but I don't know. If they're saying they're leaving, do you see New Japan or do you see All Elite Wrestling?
Well, I mean, they've already been to New Japan, and obviously we know they've had a lot of success there. So I think transitioning back there, well, that would make the easiest transition for them. But of course, they could always go to All Elite Wrestling, and then, like we've seen with All Elite Wrestling, they really want to promote their tag team division. So that adding them to that, they could certainly be a good choice, and adding them to their roster. So um, I guess we'll see. But I think at the end of the day, they end up in All Elite Wrestling just because, like I said, for promotion that's going to be trying to focus on tag teams specifically, I think they make a good addition to the roster there.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I know All Elite Wrestling is focusing on tag teams, especially with the Young Bucks being executive vice presidents and all. But one thing that we do have to take into consideration, whether or not they go back to New Japan or stay in All Elite or go to All Elite Wrestling, Carl Anderson has been very, very open about the fact that he's able to be with his family now. He wasn't able to do that when he was in Japan. He's always taking pictures of his kids. He's always posting videos on social media with his kids. So I do see him going to All Elite Wrestling just because, one, the booking will be much better for them. At least they'll be put on television at some point this year if they go to All Elite Wrestling. And number two, the fact that they can stay in states and be with his family. So I think family is going to matter in this decision. And if they go to Japan, sure, they could bring the family all to Japan and whatnot, but I think that's going to be much harder than, just leaving them in states and doing everything in All Elite Wrestling.
Right.
So the other guy that is rumored to be leaving WWE, actually, it's not rumored. It's been announced. Jim Ross has confirmed this. He is leaving WWE after 26 years of mutual agreement between him and Vince McMahon. Now the question is, there's a rumor going around from Raja.com saying that he's already signed a multi-year deal with All Elite Wrestling. Now, I don't know how that's possible because if he's still under contract with WWE, there's no way he could sign with All Elite Wrestling, and maybe he could agree to terms. The whole contract tampering thing is still not 100% clear to me on this. But do you see JR commentating for All Elite Wrestling?
It's going to be interesting to see if he does join them, if it's going to be a commentary role or if it's like a backstage role. Either one of those, I think it would be a win for All Elite Wrestling to attract somebody like Jim Ross, who certainly one of the most iconic names and figures within wrestling history for both commentary and obviously for his mind for professional wrestling. So if he goes there, I mean, that's a great catch for them. This was rumored going back before All Elite Wrestling was actually formed. Raja.com, I think, was the one who broke the news that All Elite Wrestling, they purchased the copyrights for, All Elite Wrestling and Dynamite Tuesday or whatever it was called, and that Jim Ross was initially going to go there once his contract ran out. So I think we're actually going to see the whole thing kind of come to fruition here where he does end up going there now.
And also Raja.com just recently broke the news of the WWE pay-per-view schedule, which included Money in the Bank in Hartford on May 19th, a show that we'll be attending. I believe Extreme Rules in Philadelphia, that was already confirmed. So little credibility getting built here by Raja.com. So I watch out for them as more information comes from them. Another thing that they're reporting too is that Fox is saying that they want TV14 programming on WWE. They don't want this PC or PG rated stuff on there anymore. They want more closer to the adult content. I don't want to say Attitude Era, but maybe Ruthless Aggression type era content. And of course, people are getting ecstatic about that, but is that the right move for WWE to move away from PG content?
It doesn't matter what it's rated if it's not good content. I think WWE just has to be consistent with its story writing, and that's something that they've had trouble with doing for a while now. That's something they're criticized for. So I think going PG-14 or whatever TV-14 is a step in the right direction. But if you can't write good content that's going to keep people keep eyes on the TV, then it doesn't matter what it's rated. But I think it's at least a step in the right direction for some change.
Totally agree. I honestly think the best thing for WWE right now is to go more of the Ruthless Aggression era. Now, I'm not saying the Ruthless Aggression era was the best era of WWE, but in today's world where it's so easy to get offended and things have evolved. The Attitude Era would not work because
Definitely not.
Definitely not. The Attitude Era just would not work in today's world. But the Ruthless Aggression Era can work because they can still toe the line, but not necessarily cross it. They could do, they could bring weapons back in some shape or form other than, I know they do Extreme Rules, but you could do stuff outside of Extreme Rules where weapons are more involved and maybe see more blood and stuff like that people are kind of missing in WWE that they are seeing in the likes of Impact Wrestling, in the likes of New Japan Pro Wrestling and Ring of Honor that you're just not getting in WWE. And I'm sure we're going to see that in All Elite Wrestling with their content too. Speaking of All Elite Wrestling, there was also a rumor going around that the meeting that the Young Bucks and Cody had at the Super Bowl this year was in fact with Turner, and the deal is almost set for them to be on TBS. I can't confirm whether or not that rumor is true yet, but of course, when that happens, I'm sure we're going to be doing a full-on episode on that. But do you think if this happens, it is confirmed that they're going to TBS, will that force WWE to move to TV14 like Fox wants them to?
I don't think that will force them to do it right out of the get-go, but I think that if AEW starts producing weekly content or whatever their television deal is, that's compelling, and they start competing with WWE and have decent ratings, and I think that will force them to make some tough decisions. And TV14 and edgier content is probably going to be one of those things that they have to consider.
Yeah, it's definitely something they're going to have to consider. I know people want to make this like a war. I think it's more of a war with the fans of choosing between AEW and WWE, but it's not like in the late 90s, early 2000s where they're going to be on the same night. Right. If it does go to TBS, it seems like Tuesday night's going to be the night that they're on. So, I don't think what AEW does on Tuesdays is really going to affect too much on what WWE does on Fridays for SmackDown. I could be wrong. I could totally be wrong. But also, Fox has had UFC in the past, and they've had, they have NFL, they have MLB. So they want it to be as sports-like entertainment as possible instead of entertainment-like sports like WWE is providing for the last, I don't know how many years. It's been this like PG-rated content, 15 years, we would say, safely. So it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out. And who knows? I mean, if the ratings start tanking early with SmackDown Live on Friday nights on Fox, who knows what could end up happening. They might get moved to Fox Sports 1, and then WWE pushes the panic button and changes things around too. So it's going to be, I mean, personally, I do not see WWE moving to TV14, but Fox giving them all the money that they are giving them, it could possibly happen. Do you see it happening?
I think eventually, it's likely to happen. If Fox wants it and Fox is paying WWE what we know they're going to be paying them, and AEW starts competing with them in any way, I think that they'll be forced to do something like that, yes.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to say for now, no, but until I see more details on this and see how All Elite Wrestling happens with their TV deal, I'm going to say for now, no. They won't move to TV14, but times change, people change. So let us know what you think in the comments below about Ronda Rousey breaking kayfabe, Gallows and Anderson going to AEW, JR going to AEW, or WWE going to TV14. Let us know in the comments. If you like any of the points that we made, like this video, share it. Make sure you hit that bell for notifications, because starting Monday morning, 7 a.m., the World Wrestling Elite Tournament, it's down to 16. So it's up to you guys to name number one by voting on our social medias at SCPB Podcast on Twitter, on Facebook, and on Instagram. For Rob Valenti, my name is Michael Valenti, and thank you